Welcome back to the She Shed. Today's tutorial is going to be on how I make my standard throws. I have made, I don't know, hundreds of these, and I use exactly the same stitch, but it is the yarn that you use that changes the style of the throw. Have a look at these photos. So you can see that the different wools I use create different effects. Now even the different size hook I use will also create a different effect. When you look at this photo, the bluey greeny one on the left, I've used a 5mm hook, and this one here I've used the 6mm hook. And you'll be able to see the difference in size, hopefully, in that photo. Same yarn, different hook will create a different effect as well. I just want to run you through how to do this simple throw. You can use any wool you like, any yarn you like, and it all depends on the hook you use, the yarn you use to get the effects. Now the best ones I get are the ones where I use a self-striping yarn or a variegated yarn. Now when you look at my hand spun throws in this photo here, you'll be able to see that I spun that so it was very variegated, and that is 1 kilogram of yarn I used in that. For these ones here I use 2,000 meters. Now obviously the bigger the hook, so if you have a ball of yarn that says it is a 100 grams but it is an 8mm hook, and you get 2,000 meters at that, you're going to have a very, very big throw, and it'll probably end up being a weighted throw. If you use a 4mm hook for the throw, your throw is going to be a much, much smaller throw. And if you look in this photo here, the green and the cream one on your left are they're done in a 4mm hook, and they're much smaller than the others on that photo. Let's get started on how I actually do it. Now I'm not going to run you through the whole throw. I'm just going to start you on the throw and show you how to get started, and then you can go away and do whatever throw you like if you would like to do this. The trick is not so much the stitch, is basic stitch. This is a half double crochet. What we need to look at though is how to get your neat edges. How do we make sure our edges stay straight and neat? Other than that, it's really easy. So what is this yarn? This yarn is from Hobbii, and I never know how to say that, Manaya. And as you can see, it's 65% wool and 35% acrylic. It is from Hobbii. I've got 4 big balls of this to make this throw, and this one, if you're interested in this color, is 4. They don't give you a color, and it is how many meters? So it's 200 grams, and it says it's 510 meters. It says to use a 5mm hook or needle. I did on the first one I made in this series of wool, and it was very tight. Okay, so this is the first one I made in this wool series, this yarn series, and I don't know whether you can tell, but that is much tighter, I don't know if you can tell, than the next color I used in this series. So much tighter weave, because I used a 5mm hook on this one. I used a 6 on this one. It's quite dense and heavy. whereas this one's quite light and it came out much bigger than this one. So it's exactly the same yardage I use. So there's 510 meters in this yarn. I used 4 balls, so over 2,000 meters I used in this. This one's come out quite narrow and straight, and this one's come out quite wide and big. It's actually much longer. So that's what happens when you change your hook. And I do like the lighter feel rather than the heavy feel, but if you're the opposite to me, then go with a smaller hook size so you have that tighter weave. So enough chatting, let's get started. As I said, I'm not going to do the whole blanket for you. I just want to show you how to do it, and then you can go off and do your own thing. So let's get our yarn. Alright, so start off with a slip knot. Grab the size hook that you would like to do your throw in. For me, it is going to be the 6mm hook. And then what you need to do is chain 160. That's what I'm using for this one, but you can do whatever size you like. So if you want to make it particularly wide, do it wider. A good gauge is if you want it to wrap around yourself, make the chain as long as your arm length stretched out. So stretch your arms right out, hold your chain from one end to the other, and that's a really good size. You might have a shorter throw though for 2,000 meters of yarn. Trial and error. Every single one of my throws are different. So it all depends on the yarn and what size hook I'm using. So if you are following along with me and you're using a 6mm hook, then chain 160. Okay, when you've finished your chain one, and then turn your work upside down. So you can see that there's a V here. Go upside down, and you'll see that there is a loop in the back of your stitch. So all the loops there. We're going to work all our stitches in the loop. And we're going to do a half double crochet in every single stitch from now onwards. So it's yarn over, miss that one you just chained and go to the next one. Turn your stitch around so you've got the loop at the back. Put your hook into the loop in the back. Grab your yarn and pull it through. Grab your yarn and pull through the 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, go into the next stitch, the loop on the back. Hook into that loop, yarn over, pull your yarn through, yarn over, yarn through all 3 stitches on the back of on the hook. Yarn over, next loop. Go through the loop, grab a yarn, pull it through, grab a yarn, pull through the 3 on the hook. Okay, I am going to finish the rest of this off camera, and I will meet you back here at the end of this row. When you're coming to the end of your row, make sure that you are going into every single stitch. So even this one with the knot near it. Okay. So chain 1, turn, and to get that straight edge at the beginning of your row, you go into the very first stitch. Okay, so you've chain 1 and you go very first stitch. and then just continue in every stitch. Okay, and you're just doing a half double crochet in every single stitch from now onwards. I'm going to meet you back at the end of this row to show you how you finish off the row so you have a really neat edge. When you come to the end of the row, I've left the last 2 stitches. So the next stitch, you can see, just go straight into that stitch and work as normal. And the last stitch is your chain 1 stitch. What you need to do is see how you can see the V at the front, and then the back of it is just there. So there's the V at the front and the back is just there. Now sometimes this can be a little bit tricky to find, but trust me, it's worth the effort. Yarn over and let's go into that stitch. So you want the front on your hook, so those 2 loops on your hook, and the back loop behind. Grab your yarn, pull it through, grab your yarn, pull through all 3 on the hook. And this, I guarantee you, doing it like this will give you that really nice neat edge, nice and straight. And therefore you can still do a border around if you want to, but if you keep with the nice edge, you won't need to do that border. So chain 1 at the end, turn your work, yarn over into that very first stitch, put your hook in, grab your yarn, pull it through, yarn over, pull through the 3 on the hook, and then continue doing your row as you have been. Now I'm going to do the rest of this row off camera, and I will come back to you and just run you through how to do that end stitch again. Okay, at the end of that row I'm on my last 2 stitches, so we'll do normally in that stitch, and then remember when we get to the last stitch it's in that chain 1. So you can see there's the front of the stitch and the back of the stitch. Sometimes that can be tricky to find. So yarn over and put your hook in, and see there's the back of the stitch. So through there, and I've got the 2 of front, pull your yarn through, yarn over through the 3, chain 1. Before you turn, just have a little look. See how that is a nice straight edge. Okay, and then you turn and you continue as normal. Okay, so I think that you have probably got the idea of how that works now, and you've worked out how to make that nice straight edge, and you can continue doing your own throw, as big, as small. Use it in all sorts of different patterns. I hope you've enjoyed this short, sweet tutorial. I hope your throw turns out to be absolutely wonderful. If you do make it and you have a picture and you'd like to share it with me, I'd love to see it. So you can message me or you can share it on Instagram with me. I'm at lucky_platypus1. Otherwise, hopefully I'll see you again very soon at my next tutorial. Have a wonderful day, everybody, and I'll see you next time at the She Shed. Bye, everyone.